Between 1916 and 1930, a mystery illness swept across Europe, America, and Asia. Over 1 million people contracted it. More than 500,000 died. And the rest? They became living statues, completely paralyzed, unable to speak, unable to move, trapped inside their own bodies. Doctors had no idea what was happening. Scientists wrote over 9,000 articles trying to solve it. And to this day, nobody knows what caused it. In the spring of 1916, doctors in Vienna noticed something terrifying. Patients were arriving at hospitals with a strange condition. They couldn't move. They couldn't speak. Their eyes stared blankly ahead. At first, doctors thought it was a psychiatric illness. Then more cases appeared. Then hundreds. Then thousands. Within months, it wasn't just Vienna. The illness was spreading across Europe like wildfire. The disease had a name: Encephalitis Lethargica. It means inflammation of the brain that causes lethargy or extreme sleepiness. But calling it a sleep disease doesn't capture what it really was. This wasn't people just falling asleep. This was something far darker. The symptoms were horrifying. Victims would develop a fever. They'd complain of headaches and body aches. Then, within days, they'd stop moving. Their muscles would go rigid. Their faces became completely expressionless. Some victims could blink or move their eyes slightly, but nothing else. They were awake. They were conscious. But they were trapped in their own bodies, like a person locked inside a stone statue. Doctors called these patients the statue-like cases. And they were the most disturbing cases of all. Some victims remained in this state for months. Others for years. A few for the rest of their lives. The numbers were staggering. By 1920, 500,000 people had been infected across Europe alone. The epidemic didn't stop there. It jumped to America. It crossed to Asia. Entire hospitals filled with paralyzed patients. Entire families were wiped out. Parents watched their children become living statues. Children watched their parents disappear into stillness. The worst part? Nobody could explain it. The disease didn't fit any known illness. It wasn't polio. It wasn't influenza. It wasn't any bacterial infection doctors could identify. The mysterious illness seemed to attack the brain directly, affecting the parts that controlled movement and speech. But why? How? What was causing it? The medical community became obsessed. Thousands of doctors and researchers dedicated their careers to solving it. Between 1920 and 1930, over 9,000 scholarly articles were published about encephalitis lethargica. Scientists tested every theory: viral infection, bacterial infection, autoimmune disease, toxins. Nothing explained it completely. Then, as mysteriously as it arrived, the epidemic began to fade. By 1930, new cases dropped dramatically. By 1940, it was almost gone. The pandemic that had affected over 1 million people simply vanished. Like it was never there. But it was there. Those survivors remained. Many were left with permanent brain damage. Some recovered partially. Others stayed frozen in that statue-like state for decades. And despite all the research, despite all the articles, despite all the brilliant minds trying to solve it, we still don't know what caused it. Even today, neurologists don't have a definitive answer. Some think it was a virus. Some think it was an autoimmune response. Some think it was something environmental we've completely forgotten about. The truth is lost to history. Over 1 million people were affected. More than 500,000 died. And their killer remains unknown, waiting somewhere in the dark.